You're listening to the #1 live call-in podcast for real estate agents and professionals all around the world. World-class guests, breaking news, and you with your hosts, Johnny Awesome and Jimmy Fantastic. You are on Free for All Friday.
Good morning, everybody. This is Jimmy Fantastic.
And I am but a vessel for my creator, the positive energy, a seeker of greatness with it all. My kids know me as Daddy. I met a man on the street. That's what you said. Musk is helping me with my intro here on Free for All Free. Yes, we are live. We are here. If you're joining us, you can give us a thumbs up just to make sure you can hear us. I can't hear myself at all.
I can't hear me either.
None of you guys can hear yourselves?
I can't hear me.
This is really wild.
Oh, there I go. Now I can.
I still can't. There we go. It is just not plugged in all the way.
Which one am I? Am I the blue one?
You are. Yeah, you can adjust that yourself. So good morning, everybody. Welcome.
There we go. That's perfect.
Oh, no.
Johnny, don't look at me.
He's learning how to
there we
use
go.
the dial.
Teamwork makes the dream work, you guys. Come on.
Yeah, absolutely. So good morning, everybody. Welcome. It is Free for All Friday. Very excited today. We have three guests coming in today that we're really excited to talk to and about. Good morning, Donna. Thank you for checking in with us, letting us know that you can hear us. We really appreciate that. I actually, it's a surprise because I was thinking about this last night. We talk about not being secret agents, and although our schedule has not allowed for this yet, I was like, man, we haven't had a chance to interview the guys from 3-5. So today we thought, wrong one. There we go. I just hit all the buttons. There we go. So today we decided to bring the three guys in from the newest coaching consulting.
Oh, yeah.
I should have put the three our song on here.
Yeah,
it works though.
Hold on.
That needs to get added to the board.
We can get that in there.
Yeah, that needs to get added to the board.
Yeah, absolutely. Ron says Scott is a total G. That is he absolutely
for the weekend.
Yeah, he actually is not yet a grandfather. I know he looks like he is, but
oh yeah, it's the beard, baby. It's the salt and pepper.
That's what it is. That's all it is. But yeah, so we have with us today the gentleman from 3-5 Consulting. We have Mr. Jimmy Nelson, Mr. Scott Muska, and Johnny Awesome, everybody.
Yay.
Johnny!
So I'm glad to have you guys on the show. Ron actually took the time to let me know that G means gang. Thank you, Ron.
He's a Russian bot.
How do we know that's not a bot?
No, it's just ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Ron is ChatGPT. That's why the comments don't make sense all the time. Every now they're always well put together, but not all the time do they make sense. Oh man, that's fun. So yeah,
that's great.
We've had the posters in the background for a while. We haven't had a chance to talk about it too much, and there's a lot of interesting things that are going on, especially as we ourselves, the last couple of weeks have been talking about the phases of emotional, influence over people, and even our own journey, how we've gone through the emotional, phases of. Now I'm starting to getting ahead. I'm trying to figure out how. This whole time thinking,
I'm ready. I'm going to help you.
The emotional, the entrepreneurship, the 1979 entrepreneurship emotional cycle of change. That's it. Thank you very much.
I'm with you now.
Yes. So we've very much gone through that, but a little bit about our history and 3-5 is we got together. Actually, Scott got together and took us over to what we now call the Sticky Bar.
Forgot about that.
Yeah.
The stinky bar.
The sticky bar. And we sat down at a table and we came up. Well, I'll let you guys talk about that. Actually, I'll let you talk about that, Scott, because you're the one that really kind of pulled this team together.
You want me to talk about the stinky bar?
I do. That's all I want to talk this whole time. That's what I want to talk about. Yeah.
Well, look, at the end of the day, if anyone opens a business, it all starts like with an idea, right? You're like, I see a problem that exists in the universe. Oh,
There you go. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
Yeah, you start any kind of business, you look and see what problems exist in the universe that you can solve. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't do that, right? We were blessed to kind of follow the right path, but from a consulting perspective, we see all the time, not just in real estate, but even in the private sector and in private equity spaces, you see people all the time come up with a unique solution or a unique product or service, and then they run around and try to, sell it somewhere where it's the opposite of that. Like, where do the problems exist?
Right.
Where is the problem that exists? Where is the pain? And then let's create a solution or service for that. And then now you have a relevant solution that has a relevant place in the market. And I think that, when we were talking about some things and we were talking about, wow, when you look at the landscape of the problems that we solve, where, 3-5, we make real estate realtors and loan officers better. That's our fundamental premise. But how do we arrive there? What's the challenge or the problem that exists? The pink elephant in the room, right? The pink elephant in the room is, there's a lot of them, but when you look at realtors and LOs, just as an example, one of the pink elephants is, we know what they are. Hey, realtors, they're flighty and they're not loyal and they really don't know what they're doing. Only like 5% of them are any good and blah, blah, blah. And then, realtors will look at lenders and say, oh man, these guys think they know everything. They don't do nothing. These guys are jokers. All they want, they'll only like us when it's, non-refi season, And so you have all these different things about how they look and view each other in some cases, but there's problems that can be solved there where both of those parties can elevate their craft, grow their businesses, be the best versions of themselves, eat way more than maybe they're currently eating today, if they could get their head around, how their synergies can really collide in the most meaningful way, and at the same time, running concurrently alongside of that, both of them elevating in their ability to perform at the craft that they're supposed to be the master of, right? Getting better at those kinds of things. And there's all kinds of opportunity that resides inside of that, and it can become analysis paralysis. Any business owner can look at stuff sometimes and you're like, oh my gosh, there's 500 things I know that need to get taken care of. Which ones do I check first? Why those things? And how do I go about doing it at scale with consistency in a way that's measurable? And I think that when we look at all of that in its totality is where the foundation was poured for how we thought, man, 3-5 can come in, solve some relevant problems, elevate performance, help everyone make more money, and doing it in a way that's not off the shelf, and that is unique from how other people try to attempt to do it in the space, not only just with who we have and the skill sets that we bring to the table as a 3-5 team, but also in our approach that's different, right? Yeah. I think at the end of the day, those are the things that separate us, and we're very deliberate what we're looking at to help our clients win.
Sure, I can tell about the bar story. So, so Muska pulls us aside. We go and meet at the Sticky Bar, which is nice because you said it was spilled on the table, much like the beer was spilled on the table there. And, I got to say, it was interesting because, and what's nice about this is a lot of you guys out there have thought, well, and we've talked about this again, the motion cycle of change. At what point in time do you go from level 5 back to level 1 and make sure that you're not just doing level 3 to level 1 and cutting yourself short of success, right? So you have 3 guys here, and I thought it'd be interesting to talk about that. You have 3 guys here who, one of them, who started with, we walked out and said, hey, I'm gonna start this thing with you guys. Had no income coming in, used to multiple incomes. Now you're like the fake CEO of 5 or 6 different companies, right? So I want to talk about that, and then how you're scheduling your time out, running around like a madman right now, and why you're doing it, because you're chasing your own freedom. Jimmy stepped aside to start running his own team, right? And then now he's running his own real estate team, decides to start this up as well. And I had to take a giant faith leap and jump out there to start all this up. So I kind of wanted to jump into the personal journey a little bit about that, especially, there's a lot of realtors out there that could supplement or do something more than what they're doing, and or push themselves more in what they're currently doing, but they're allowing fear to hold them back. And I had a mentor one time, I don't remember what he said about fear, but every time I mention it, he sends me a text and he says something along the lines of
evidence appearing real.
That's not what he says.
That's what I
said. It's the other one. It's the other one. Fear is
I don't know which one. I do allow.
There's a lot of fear.
There's a lot of
yeah.
But Grant Cardone always said, fear is not only telling you what to do, but telling you when to do it.
Right. And like you said, like you gotta let your faith be bigger than your fear too. Right? If you let your faith be bigger than your fear, that's when things start to happen. And again, none of this is easy. You know what I mean? Like and the things that we coach and teach and do and try to tell agents to do, like it's and Gary Keller says it's simple, it's not easy. Right? Like the blueprint for a lot of these things has been laid out. Now what we're doing with 3.5 is a little bit different. There is a blueprint for it, but there's not, right? Like we're doing it, we took a blueprint, we kind of crumbled it up a little bit, redrew some lines, took an eraser out, did some different things, and now we're changing it. But at the same point, like we saw a need in the business, and it's one of the things that you and I have talked about forever on the show, is like the fundamentals, just the fundamentals of real estate. So how can we help teach agents just the fundamentals of real estate? Like how do I talk to people, right? How do I ask more questions? How do I become relevant, right? How do I, and just the basis of that, and then to like, how do I like negotiate a deal? Like, how do I do these things? What is my mission statement? What all these basic things that we say analysis paralysis surrounds agents with, and we're like, just do it. Well, and we didn't until now.
Right? The analysis paralysis part of that journey that you're referencing is pretty funny too, because there's a lot of people that talk at people and give people more information and more knowledge. So I know someone's telling me and maybe even showing me how to, deal with that pushback while I'm on a sit trying to get a listing, or how to deal with, hey man, on the fly, what's your brand differentiator? Like, why should I pick you as a real estate agent to list my house versus somebody else? And there's people that will talk about those things and convey strategies and tactics about those things. Those people are a dime a dozen. And they all come from the same perspective. Where I think there's a differentiator for us in that regard is not only do we do that because we have real estate experts here, but at the same time, we put people in a position to perform.
Right.
Like you have to do the thing. And you can't leave it up to your client to do it on their own because they're not. And that's not shade. And that's not an indictment on the clients that we work with.
No.
It's just an objective truth that if they were already going to do it on their own, they would have done it already. Yep. And they'd already be, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they would be realizing the needle movement. And speaking of needle movement too, when you're putting people past that knowledge transfer and understanding, which most people are already there. Like, for instance, anybody out there right now, you probably heard it to nauseam about 55,000 times. Where like probably the top 10 things that you need to do right now that maybe you're not already doing to meet and exceed your potential as an agent. We already know what those things are. Most people listening are. I mean, there's some newer people or whatever, but at the end of the day, it's about doing it.
Right.
We are going to make you do certain key things, but not off the shelf, right? What's different for Jimmy is different for Johnny. What are the top 3 things that he needs? And what are the top 3 things he needs? Not knowledge, but skill to execute it, to do the thing at a high level in the moment when it matters. That's where that comes in. And then at the end of the day, and we'll get into this later, guys, but the measurable piece. What gets measured gets improved. And a lot of people that we have found, if you unpack the space, any competitor, a large swath of those competitors don't do those things, and they don't ultimately want to put their money where their mouth is in regards to their promise of performance and needle movement with what they provide as a solution by measuring. Pre-measurement, where am I as far as effort stats, execution, skill sets, and results, and where am I at during the middle of my journey and at the end? The measurement is everything. And a lot of people don't do that, but we're not afraid to do that. We do that really, really well.
Right. So Johnny, for you, it's been a big change for you.
The biggest, yeah. Probably the most fearful, actually.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where we tell people, and I'll tell you, it's I had just heard this from a missionary that I had talked to, and I forget what country he was in, but he walked into a foster care for babies, and when he walked in there, it was dead silent. And he made that comment. You typically, when you walk into a foster home that fosters babies, there's crying. There was hundreds of babies in here, and none of them were making a sound.
They're sleeping?
No. What they found was, in this place that he went, these babies were trained that no matter how hard they cried, nobody was coming to help them.
Ooh, like the elephant in the chain. I stopped trying.
So they stopped crying.
They stopped crying.
And
That's deep.
what I realized and why that's relevant to us and what we do is who you surround yourself with. As a baby, we don't have a choice who God has put into our lives and who we're surrounded with at that point in time. But as an adult, we have the choice of who we're putting into our lives and who we're going to allow to influence us. And you need to understand that that is a real critical choice that you need to make. And when I first got around these guys, I used to tell my counselor all the time, because people have asked, well, why haven't, and I've helped run teams. Jimmy, is running his team now. And I've always done the coaching thing, but I've never stepped out on my own, right? I never did that. And I remember I had a counselor once, and he's talking to me about that. And he said, why wouldn't you ever bet on yourself? And I never surrounded myself with the right people. I just grew up in a position and place where I never had that encouragement. Nobody ever said, yeah, you're good. You can do this. You can roll. Until I ran into these gentlemen. And when I ran into these gentlemen, and Muskie pulled me aside a couple of times and told me that, he's the one that really said, you're the magic. And through enough of that, because I chose a circle of people to constantly lift me up and get me to understand that. And a lot of people that know me in life knew that. But because I started to change my circle and the influence of the people I had, I finally, for the first time in my life, was able to take a bet on myself.
Wow,
because I was able to do it with people that constantly pushed me up and believed. So yeah, walking away, I have a lot to lose. I was always worried because, some of you guys know my situation. The biggest thing I want to make sure is I never have the worry or fear that I'm going to lose my kids or lose a place to have them or give, my ex an excuse to say, oh, see, he doesn't have a place, so we're going to pay. It's a real fear of mine.
Right.
And, so that income portion of it was a real thing. But again, it was being in an environment that constantly showed me the proof that was laying out there that finally got me to say, you know what, I can jump. I can jump and run. And I can jump and run with guys that this is what that environment's like. So, yeah, I think, does that answer your question?
It does. And it sparked this. So I found this the other day. And it was a video I saw, and I went back to. It was a baseball coach from Ole Miss. But I went back and read this. But this is kind of like where we're at. Like, and specifically, like it says, once your commitment is greater than your feelings, that's when you get results.
Wow. Oh man.
It's not enough just to want to do something. You have to be committed to doing it.
Yep.
But that first piece, once your commitment is greater than your feelings, that's when you get results.
Yep.
And I was like, wow. Like, because again, we feel like we need to do whatever. Like we feel like we need safety, right? Like we feel like we need that someone that we're relying on someone else to pay us, right?
Yeah,
like we had that feeling that we rely on that. But once you get past that feeling and you're committed to something, now it feels like, all right, I can do this, but I have this fear of like, shit, this is real now, right? This is a real thing now. Like this is happening, and so your feelings can lie to you. You know what I mean? Like your feelings, and it's Kurt has said this before too. Like we run from pain, right? But we walk towards pleasure. Because that's the easy part, right? The pleasure is the easy part. The pain's the hard part. We run from that. We're like, we don't want to do painful things, right? But the painful things are typically the ones that take you farther. You know what I mean? Like it's just anything, right? It's working out, it's doing whatever. It's all those things. Like the painful thing of like social media, like, oh my God, do I put this post out? Do I not put this post out? I look terrible in this picture. Oh my God. And it's this fear and this pain of like this thing, so we don't do it. You have to get past that part, right? And I think that's what we're doing is getting past that part. And again, announcement, like guys, if you guys have been in a training with us, if you guys have seen us in a room and we've done a training with you, like it's different. You know what I mean? Like it's different. You know it's different. And so we've been able to go down to Tennessee and do a training. We've been able to do all these things, and people are like, wow, this is really different. You know what I mean? And you leave them. I feel like the three of us working together, we leave people better than we found them. You know, and I think that's where I think we do that to each other. You know what I mean? I think we do that to each other. I think we're whatever, however this goes and whatever else, but we're making each other better every day. You know what I mean? Like we lean on each other, we hold each other accountable. You know, we've had some serious conversations. You know what I mean, with all three of us, and it's like, but that's just making us better. You know what I mean? So, and again, iron sharpens iron, and to your point, Johnny, like this is without, like, the hard part is without the three of us, I don't know that we would be where we're at right now.
Yeah.
You know?
It's your flock. You're choosing 100%. Your flock. It's really super important that you choose. Like I said, we are adults. We now have the right to choose. And if you're not, and you don't think that you do, you're living. I had a coach one time used to talk about living by default, right? And that's one of the issues that so many people have right now.
Oh man,
they live by default.
Yeah,
you have the choice.
You guys were talking about like the pain and all of that stuff. It's very interesting when, you know, the world provides people, I don't know what you call it, but like things that will sort of mitigate your pain. And that's not a good thing, right? Like you see people, or we've heard of people that when they run into tough times, you know, we see sometimes an abuse of alcohol or drugs or social media or even Netflix, right? There's things that people will do to immerse themselves away from the discomfort of the day.
Chocolate.
And when you do that, what that does is when you remove the pain. See, for me, I firmly believe, and I think we're all on the same page here, is that constant little sting of pain is what forces you to choose, and it forces you to evolve. Because no one ever arrives at perfection, and no one's near where they were many years ago. We're always at a certain iteration of ourselves as an individual. You know, I'm 52 years old, but you know, it's not iteration 52 like an iPhone. I'm like at iteration 276. Those are the kinds of things that when you look at all of that stuff, it fits together.
Yeah, and it's right. You have to be ever evolving, you know, and you can't just be this stagnant. Like, humans aren't made that way. Like we're not supposed to be the 9 to 5, punch the clock, go home, cut the grass.
I mean, I don't know. I think some people are, to be honest with you. I just don't think I think that there's a majority of people that they are meant to be those.
Yeah.
And I think that's okay. That's fine.
Worker bees, right?
They make great, and there's nothing wrong with that. And if there's been people that have tried real estate and they would have been great assistants, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think that's the biggest thing about our messages too. And Jimmy and I've been sharing this on the show forever. You know, who you are, it's okay. It's who you are.
Yeah.
Let's work on who you are instead of trying to match you against somebody else. But for the entrepreneur spirits, which all of us are, you know, one of the things, and I'd love
the entrepreneurial spirit, though, is a curious thing in my view. Like I never was an entrepreneurial spirited person organically. I don't think ever personally. Like I think that we talk about always evolving and growing. I think you can evolve into that. Like if I look at my entire career, at no point in time that what I think I would ever be a person that would have struck out and took a risk to be an entrepreneur back in 2015 with skills.
Really?
Right?
Yeah.
No, not at all.
Interesting.
No, heck no, man. Like I mean, I don't know, at least for me, when I'm young, when we're all young in our careers, we're just trying to figure ourselves out.
Yeah.
We're trying to carve out a place for ourselves in the world in a meaningful way, especially by means of a career. So our first thing in the first iteration of our career journey of anybody is I got to pay the bills and I want to be able to survive. Yeah, safety. I got to eat. I got to have a roof over my head. There's that. Then these things ascend. But what happens during that journey, if you're consistently trying hard and leaving your very best on the field every day, like waves on a beach, you incrementally garner more experience, more wisdom, more skills. And then pretty soon, one day, and that doesn't happen for everybody, at least for me, I got to a place where I'm like, wait a minute, why am I doing this for other people?
Right.
Like maybe the mistake I made was the only mistake I go back and I go, man, if I could really rejudge myself. When I stayed at, I was at Quicken Loans for a long time, great place, learned a lot there. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have developed into any kind of a business person whatsoever. The phenomenal leadership and the people I had in my ecosystem are worth its weight in gold, and those relationships are super powerful to this day, and they will never fade. But at the end of the day, I was there too long. I should have probably left there a couple years earlier, or done something different, because you you get, they call it the golden handcuffs,
Yep.
where you kind of get comfortable and you get paid just enough where you're like, oh, okay, I'm good, I'm okay. And then you just keep going along, and in the back of your head, you're at this place, and you're like, man, I could do that. I could totally do it.
Yeah.
But then there's that fear piece. And then your skill sets become so good where you're like, I see other people doing this, and I know I can crush them. I mean, Johnny, I said this to you. Remember that one time I was explaining something to you? Do you remember? And I even got a little tear. We were on a Zoom, and I started tearing up because, Johnny, dude, you're a guy who has so much natural skill and earned, grown skill, like tribal knowledge skills, that at the time, you didn't even see that. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh my God, I'm so excited about, like, emotional about where this guy can go. Like, I see people do things that you guys have done, or you in particular even have done, and what your skill sets are, your superpowers are. And I'm like, yep, he's better than that guy and that guy and that guy. And I'm talking about that guy is people that are like doing big things. Like, they're almost like household names at scale, statewide, nationally. And I'm like, he can beat that guy. I think, look, all of you guys watching this right now, the ones of you that are like, you get irritated sometimes, it's because, like, you know what you're capable of, and you're mad at yourself a little bit. Mm-hmm. And then we almost sometimes let that accidentally marinate into hateration. You know, that person, that lady, that guy, blah, 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 right? And what it is you're like, really deep down, you're like, I know I'm as good, if not better at that than them, and they're beating me.
Yep.
And now you got to go home and reconcile that. You got to look at yourself in the mirror and go, am I mad at the situation, or am I mad at them? I'm basically pointing fingers and don't realize it. Instead, when you get that frustrated by it, it's because actually it's a good problem to have. It means probably, most likely, maybe not, but most likely you're at a place now where you know you can do better. You can be better, and you're not at the current moment, so you're frustrated by it.
Yep.
And that's where, going back to 3-5, we help diagnose and put a lens on those things for each person as an individual and as teams. And then we carve out those most meaningful, relevant things to help people push through that thing that's relevant for them, you know, and what we're kind of like what we're talking about now. And that's how we're able to incrementally nudge results up, elevating retention, attraction, and performance, and the ability to do the craft and be good at what you do. Because there's nothing more satisfying, guys. You guys all know this. There's nothing more satisfying, especially from a career perspective, when you busted your hind end all week long. You know you've done the right things to the best of your ability. You made some really good mistakes, and you start to get some results. And you kind of like lay exhausted metaphorically on the battlefield at the end of the month or the week. And you're like, fuck, that's awesome. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That is where self-pride comes in, confidence comes in. Like, guys, look at, we've really not been doing this in a formal sense for very long. And now all of a sudden, our portfolio of clients is skyrocketing right now.
Well, it's interesting.
And it's crazy because once people understand about whether it's something that we do or the thing that y'all do out there every day to try to move the needle in your business and serve clients and make a wild and great experience for them, it's a big deal. It's a defining moment for people.
Yeah. You can find it at 35.org, by the way.
Now it's interesting because there's a couple things. Number one, I want to back to the bar because one of the things that was interesting that you pointed out when we were sitting there is you looked at both Jimmy and I and you said, aren't you just sick of working for other people to make them money?
Oh, yeah. I mean, look, that goes back to that thing where I was talking about where you're realizing like, oh, wow, I can do this, right? I mean, it's not necessarily you're mad at helping other people make money, because grandma used to say, people, places, and organizations and things are in your life for a reason, season, or a lifetime.
Yep.
And so I look at my entire career journey, everything I've ever done, it was actually purposeful. I don't ever look back and say, you know, even though I say, oh, I maybe should have left Quicken Loans a little earlier than I did, or something, any place you've ever been, you think, oh man, you're not really looking at the organization or that company or whatever and going, you know, oh man, I'm tired of making the money. It's more or less you just are starting to organically arrive internally, like, man, I can do this myself. And you start to get frustrated with you. You just feel like you're frustrated with others, but you're really not. You're frustrated at you.
At me, yeah.
Because deep down inside, even though you don't consciously realize it, subconsciously, you're just mad at you.
Yep.
I've been there 100 times over.
Yeah.
Times.
And I've shared this with both of you, and I've shared this with other agents, and I've shared this with a couple people. And I said this year, right, 2024, I said, and I'm not a big, New Year's resolution type guy, because if I figure I'm 51 years old, if I want to set a goal and do it, I'll do it now. You know what I mean? I don't have to
Do it now.
I don't have to wait till January, and we'll get to the choppa.
Oh man,
Get to the choppa. That was actually quite good.
But we'll, but I said, yeah, no Predator.
Oh, Predator. Oh yeah, even better.
I've got the tumor. Kindergarten Cop.
Neighbor.
Wasn't that Kindergarten Cop?
Yeah,
He's got the tumor.
that one, and then the neighbor is not, because he's doing State Farm commercials now. For God's
I
sake.
want to be with Arnold in a State Farm commercial.
Yeah.
I want to do it. I want to just be there.
Be my
and do it.
neighbor.
I'll do it for like $1.
$1.
$1.
You
Trading places. $1.
$1.
So that they give you $1 to be there?
Yeah, just $1.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, just $1.
Most people are like, I'll let me tell you what I'd pay to be with Arnold Schwarzenegger. You're like, no, they'll pay me $1.
Yeah.
I'll
No,
go
to be
hang
in the
out with them.
commercial,
Oh, to
you
be
know?
in the commercial? Yeah. You could do it like a
Just
good
$1.
neighbor.
Like
Yeah.
a good neighbor.
Neighbor.
Okay, Jimmy, you got a point.
So it's
Marinating
fun.
there, I can tell.
It's funny that this is the point though.
I can't wait to get to
There's
it.
a point.
The point was I said I wanted to be more intentional.
Yeah.
Right. And I said I wanted to be more intentional, and I wanted to be more intentional with my time, with people who I spend it with, the business that I'm doing in that time, right, and the people that I'm doing it with, and I want to be more intentional with that time. And that was one of the things that led me to this year of my word being more intentional, right? And I'm again, it's a struggle every day.
Oh, yeah.
It's a struggle every day to be intentional, right? And I get up and I try to do my affirmations and shout out to Lisa LaRue. Thank you, Lisa, for trying to get me to do this stuff. But but just trying to be more intentional again with the people who time I spend it with, who I spend it with, and the business that I'm doing, right? And keeping it just that simple. Right. And surrounding myself with the right people and spending time with them has been it's life changing. Right. And again, reason, season, or lifetime. There's jobs that I've had that have taught me what I want to do. And there's been jobs that I've had that taught me what I don't want to do.
Yeah.
Right. And so you have to learn from these things. There's been transactions in real estate that I've learned what I want to do, and there's transactions in real estate that I'm like, don't ever want to do that again. You know what I mean? Like so you have to learn from these things and grow and develop them, but being self-aware enough to figure out like what those things are, right? When we had Leo on, the CEO of the EXP, and he said he spent that $10,000 to go meet with this guy about the system that he was doing. And when he came back, he canceled the whole system and was like, I don't ever want to do that. And you and I were like, well, dude, you wasted 10 grand. He's like, no, I saved way more than that. Because if I would have tried to keep doing this thing over and over again, like I probably would have spent way more money and time. And that's the other thing that we got to realize is you're spending time with people, right? And you're spending time on business, which what is your time worth, right? What is your time worth? And is it what you're doing right now, is it worth your time, right? Is it taking you forward or farther away from the goals that you want to get to?
I just thought of something really crazy just now. You guys kind of, as you were talking, like how many people out there in the world right now are sort of suffering in silence in the sense that they want to make the leap, or they want to do that thing that they know they need to do, but they're stopping from doing it. Or people are not openly surrounding themselves with the right people to help them get over those humps that they know where they have maybe a weakness in because of ego, or as an example, like, oh man, I know I'm really not good at that. I'll never admit that openly, even to myself. Therefore, I won't surround myself with the right people in my life to help me navigate that, and then therefore change the trajectory of my career, regardless of what it is.
Yeah.
How many people out there right now, who knows, right, are sitting there going, man, I am aware of these 5 things, but I know I can't make a change on those or get better at them, even though I know it will change the trajectory of my business, because if I know I could or would, I would have already done that. But I won't bring other people in my life, surround myself with folks. They're going to help nudge me through that or get me better. or be self-aware enough, to your point, to realize I'm really not 100% clear and sure about what I really need help on. But you can't read the label from inside the bottle. So who can I surround myself with to go, wow, this person can assess all of these things, and here are the things that I need to be adjusting, tweaking, improving on, whatever, making changes around, skill-wise, knowledge-wise, behavior-wise, whatever, and I wasn't even aware of it. I didn't know. You know what? Grandma used to say this too. There's nothing more dangerous and more frustrating than someone that, thinks they know but don't know that they don't know. We walk around all the time thinking we know stuff, or we're being obtuse and we're lying to ourselves and exercising cognitive dissonance like crazy.
Shawshank.
Right? Or we're just not blissfully, but we are just completely not aware that we don't know about what those one or two key obvious things that might be to someone else that I need to get better at to be awesome. And that's why, again, it goes back to your point, and we've been kind of talking about this and how important it is who are the people that you have closest around you, even if it's for a reason or a season or a lifetime, regardless of what it is. For right now, do your own needs assessment right now if you're listening and watching to this. Who are your top 5 or 5 to 10 people in your ecosystem right now, both personally and professionally? Are you getting, a retreaded status quo experience and advice and help, or whatever? Or are you getting something refreshing, new, and different? Because you can't keep doing the same thing over and over again expecting a different result, right? I know that's played out. That's a played out saying, but there's a reason why it exists. It's because people do it all the time. Shoot, what do we do when we meet with our agents? We look at the schedule and I go, hey, we do a consultation with them. What we'll do, we'll go like this. We'll predict with about 95% accuracy what they did today and all week long based on just looking at the last 4 days or so.
Yep.
Because people are creatures of habit and they don't want to navigate out of it.
Right.
It's hard for them.
Yeah. And then it's almost like predicting the future that we can do, right? Like we can sit down, look at your business plan, talk about what you've been doing, how you've been doing it, what you've been doing with it, and then without changing anything, this is what the next 2 weeks is going to look like for you. You know what I mean? Like that, because people are creatures of habit.
They live by default.
Yep.
So let me go back to the question that you asked in the very beginning.
What was that?
You started with a question. You asked us if people are purposely not getting themselves involved and around the right people to move themselves forward. I'd rebuttal that back with a question. Do you think, the first thing I thought of when you asked that is it the chicken or the egg? Is it that people don't do that, or is it that people were in an environment or grew up in a situation, or just they just don't know to do that?
Well, I think there's nurture in nature, right? I mean, I hate to again be cliche, but it's true. Like, for instance, like we talked about entrepreneurial mindset and all of those things. That wasn't natural for me. It was a learned thing over time. You're talking about what you're talking about in regard to like seeking out the right people in your life and all of that. Sometimes that's a natural thing, sometimes from a perspective of even I was born in the right family, right?
Yeah.
Some people are born in the right circumstance and they have an amazing situation. I'm not even just talking about monetarily or financially. I'm talking about a good, strong foundational home where you got great people in your ecosystem and you learn great values and all this stuff. Not everybody has that, man. Not everybody has it. I would call that a natural opportunity for some. Yeah. And then if you layer in different like steps inside of that, you have all of that I just mentioned, and then you have accomplishment and old accomplishment from generation to generation. Now how does this 20-year-old have this much light years ahead of another 20-year-old? I can remember being at Quicken Loans, a guy named Jane Farner, who used to be the president and then was the CEO of the place. And I can remember, I think Jay's like a year younger than me.
Yeah, he's my age.
Yeah. And I can remember when I first started working there, and seeing this guy basically be a high-level executive driving a business, and me sitting there going, oh my gosh, I remember being so mad at myself.
Yeah.
Like, how is this guy so far ahead of the rest of us at this age? How did he get there? Now, through hard work and dedication and his own, kicking his own ass and doing all the things that we all need to do to take responsibility for our own actions and our own level of success, opportunity, and all of that. But then there's those other things too that collide with that.
Yep.
And that's how he was there, So going back to what you're saying, I think there's a natural part of it. And then there's like the nurture part where I went to Quicken Loans as an example. And then I was in the nurture part. I started learning stuff. And then I've been able to work with other people and I got more nurture. And then pretty soon I arrived at sort of like being cognitively aware of I need the right people in my life. I now have a different mindset about how I approach career, business, this, that, and the other. But that wasn't natural. It was nurture. By way of I didn't even have a chance to really necessarily control that. Hell, no one even cared about. I was the shyest kid in the world until I started becoming good at basketball. Then people were like, oh, I have an interest in him because he can do something for me, unbeknownst to me because I'm a child or a teenager. But now I have people interested in me. They want to help me, right? Oh, this guy can hoop, all right. And so there's all these different kinds of things. Like right now, you mentioned it earlier. You kind of made fun. He's the CEO of a lot of things. But yeah, it's crazy. Like I jumped back in the private equity space, and now I'm doing all these fractional jobs, right? Fractional meaning like, okay, I am a fractional chief revenue officer for company X, and fractional chief revenue officer for company Y, and fractional senior vice president of sales for this company. I'm working with you guys here, and we're growing something special. It's getting fast and furious every single day. I can't wait to get to a place where another 12, 18 months from now, I put all that other stuff down. We just ride. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's one of the things I want to talk about. I wasn't making fun of you. I was saying
no, I know
because we're getting into we're going to get into a thing about time here in a second. Real quick, I've been waiting to say this forever. Good morning to you too, Jeff. He is saying hello to us from Aruba. So it's good to know that their Wi-Fi is working there. That's good. And Sandra jumped in too. She said, "Spot on. Embrace change to really move the needle."
Yes,
because change. We were talking about this the other day, weren't we? Change is the only thing that's really inevitable.
It changes. The only thing constant in life is change.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, listen, people. Okay, this is a great thing.
Yeah,
people know that. Like you guys just heard us say that. It's not like you've not heard that before,
right?
But the question is, and it goes back to the question you're asking yourself as an individual watching or listening to the show is, okay, we all know that change is inevitable.
Yeah.
Okay, so now what? Change is inevitable.
Yeah.
We know we can't stay status quo,
or
we're going to get incrementally left behind or not get the results that we want. So now that you know that change is inevitable,
which
you know that you have to evolve and change, what behavior or knowledge component or skill are you now willing to go, damn it, it's time to get better at that and change.
Yeah.
Or, you know what, just sit down, keep doing it and shut up. Honestly. Oh, oh my gosh, it drives me nuts. Now I know it comes off a little judgy, and I'm not trying to do that.
Yeah.
I'm just trying because look, I'm a human being too. I've gone through it, going through it now on multiple fronts in our lives, right? We have to wear many hats, So we go through that progression on everything in our life.
Yep.
All the time. Of course, why you need good people in your life.
And
I hope you hold you accountable.
Yeah.
Well, not only that, but they not just to hold you accountable, but sometimes to constantly push you. So, like if you had a member of your team that was really poor with technology and they had a phone service that was really, really bad.
This guy. I love this guy. I love you.
The question is when are they going to change and get Verizon so you can actually listen to them? But the truth of the matter is, that started out with you had a worse phone that didn't work very well, and
terrible.
And you walked around handing us legal sheets every day, and you're actually a good example of that. At first, you were like, legal sheets, everybody gets them, but we're like, I can't handle paper. I don't know what it disappears out of my hands. Even Jimmy's like, were we going to fax these back and forth to each other? and Scott, who is not the best technologically, it's okay. We leaned on everybody, but is the first person to lean into, okay, well, how do I use Slack then? And how do I do this on this? You didn't just stay stagnant. You did the thing that you're currently talking about.
Well,
even with something as silly as, it's not as silly, but illegal sheets.
And I want to add to something on there that's very key. So I appreciate you guys recognizing that because it's a struggle for me and I feel inferior in a lot of that stuff. But it also goes back to this. surrounding yourself with the right people.
Yep.
Right? Like, I don't need to surround my team, whether it's here or any of the other businesses that I'm messing with right now. I need to have a team of people that can do things that I can't do.
But exactly. That's where I want to. Yeah.
Your overlap, if you took the 3 circles, right, overlap, and there's going to be some things where we all have some things in common that we're all pretty good at.
Yep.
But then you have superpowers that we don't have. Same around the table, right? And if you're building a team right now, you don't want to hire a bunch of people just like you.
No, they'll leave
What
you.
the heck are you doing?
They'll leave.
They're going to leave you. Yes.
Because they're you.
And they won't even like you.
No.
You hire a T-Rex on your squad.
Yeah.
You're lying to yourself.
Yeah.
If they're just like you, if you're like a dominant, I'm going to grow and start this business and go, if they're like you, and the fact that they learn some things from you over time and then they bounce and go do for their self, you have the right to be frustrated by that. You're crazy. Like, you're just not a good judge of character, or at least you're not demonstrating emotional intelligence. You're not being self-aware, nor are you being socially aware.
Right.
You've got to look what's going on. Surround yourself with people with different superpowers than you, and then you have the best team ever. Right? It's like Marvel, right?
Yeah.
You got who's the real smart fella with the robot?
Me.
No, the guy that flies around Tony Stark.
Yeah.
Iron Man.
Super smart fella, right? Then you got Thor, who's kind of like not the sharpest knife in the drawer, but like he's just strong. I got the hammer. He's doing moves. You got all these different people.
Who's the other ones?
I don't know them all. You got Captain America. He just runs around with a shield.
Is Hulk one of them? I'm not
Hulk's
good
one.
at this.
Hulk's one. Right? He's just straight up rage. Like, everyone in the universe is afraid of Hulk. So like everyone has these different superpowers.
Hulk smash.
That's why it works.
Yeah.
Like, literally, like on our team, oh God, we got a technology problem, blah, blah, blah. I just basically go, Hulk smash. And he goes and smashes it because he knows about that stuff. And by the way, one of the things I wanted to mention, if you're watching, listening to this, should you always be embracing change, being self-aware, and trying to evolve and get better at the things that you know you need to get better at in your biggest areas of opportunity? Sure, you should. But also, don't get lost on this. You should always be leaning into your strengths, because you're never going to be as good at where your opportunities are. Even though over time you improve at them immensely, you'll never be as good at those things as you are your natural strength. So it goes back to that EI, self-awareness play. Like, I know that there are like probably 2 or maybe if I'm being gracious to myself here, there's like 2 or 3 things I do that I'm self-aware of that I know that I do better than probably 90% of the population. And I'm going to lean into those things forever. That's how I'm going to provide my value to others in the universe that I work with and serve, because that's what I can do better than most people.
Yeah.
And all of us should do that. Now, does it mean should I stop working on Slack and not using legal sheets? Yeah, I need to work on that. But don't get mistaken. I'm not going to frustrate myself or over dive my time to overcompensate to get better in those areas. I'm going to stay with my strengths,
right? Because
that's where the money is. That's where the value is that I can bring to the day. And all of you are the same way, and all of you watching are the same way. What are your top 3 superpowers that you know you do better than everyone else? Lean into those. Be aware of your opportunities, and let's work on them. And let's surround yourself with the right people that can help nudge behavior change, elevation of performance and skills, and also change your perspective and get your knowledge up even more.
Well, it goes back to the superpower thing, and they go, the Hulk, it shouldn't concern himself with how fast he can swim. Aquaman can handle that.
There it is. That's it in a nutshell.
Just
talks to the fishes.
Hulk does too.
That's DC and Marvel.
Yeah, but it's okay.
It's relevant though.
Cross, man.
That was good.
You can't cross Marvel and DC.
Yeah, but it's Hulk still doesn't. It's still relevant. Does Hulk swim? I think he sinks.
He can swim, but he can't talk to the fishes or do things in the water like Aquaman.
Well, but Aquaman's DC.
No, Aquaman's lame anyway. Just to let you know, your mom also came in. She wanted to say good morning. She's wanted to also let us know that she's saying hello all the way from Warren, Michigan.
All the way. I like that.
From 10 minutes away.
From 10 minutes away, right down the road.
I can smell the bacon from here.
Yeah.
We'll be over soon.
So one of the things that, oh man, we would if you wanted to make us bacon, we'd be there. Man, do I miss doing the podcast in your basement. One of the things that we
just to be clear though, it was my basement.
Your basement, sorry, Jimmy. That was his basement, not his mom's
Jimmy
basement.
was living with his mom.
We weren't doing the podcast from my mom's basement.
One of the things that both of you guys hit on today and have hit on over and over and over again is that being self-aware. And some folk are not self-aware. And the question kind of goes back to, well, until somebody runs into you and says, hey, are you aware of this? Like you said, you're not aware of what you're not aware of.
Yeah.
Then the question becomes, do they become bitter or better? Do they say, why would somebody say that about me, right? But if somebody never does that, how does one pursue becoming self-aware if they're not aware?
I want to add to that.
Yeah, okay.
Because here's the thing: your true friends, your true people that care about you, will tell you there's something in your teeth.
Bam.
Yeah, but what if all your friends are dicks?
Then find new friends.
But what if you don't know?
That goes back to who you surround yourself.
What if you don't know?
Nobody says anything.
Yeah.
And you go in the bathroom, there's something in your teeth. Get new friends.
Yeah, but see, because we're now telling those people that. But what happens if you're in an environment or you grew up in a childhood where you didn't have that one person that said your fly's unzipped?
Yeah.
Right.
Like what do those people do?
Oh, well, look, at the end of the day, you're going to accidentally run into those people over time.
Call 3-5 will help you.
yeah, exactly. Well, you don't know what you don't know. I mean, wait, go back to the original question though again, because I was going to drop some of the. Can you position that question again? Do you remember how?
Yeah. So the question was, if we're not aware of what we are, if we are unaware of what we're unaware of, how do we develop self-awareness so that we become to be aware?
Gotcha. Yeah. So self-awareness, first off, I think it's a pretty elusive thing in the sense that in order for you to be self-aware, you have to have encountered a situation where I think humility comes into play. In order for you to be self-aware, you have to have a sense of humility. So
you have to allow it to happen by humbling yourself to realize that you aren't as good as you want to believe.
Yeah, it's a mindset or a component of it's an evolving component of your maybe character of I am not self-aware enough, or if I am, I'm not brave enough to embrace it and deal with it and change it. But when you are humble and you have a lot of times really bad things happen to you, sometimes that's the best thing that can be.
Yeah.
Right. A lot of people like, that's bull crap. But at the end of the day, there's nothing wrong with you getting into a place where you can exercise some real authentic, genuine humility.
Yep.
Because once you can start to see yourself and be open and honest with that, then you can start to open up and look outwardly and seek the right environment or the right people or the right place and space to work or whatever the case may be. That's how that happens, I think. A lot of people just aren't self-aware, or if they are, they're lying to themselves. Those are just two big things. And we find that with our clients all the time, don't we?
All the time.
Like what was the thing you said a couple weeks ago? You heard it somewhere from someone, I can't remember, but it was something to the effect of like, the magic you're looking for in your current and or life is hiding in the things that you're avoiding. Most of us, like I said about knowledge, have enough knowledge. We just can't do the thing or change the behavior. Most of us know at least one or two really big things that we're like, I kind of suck at that. Or, I know, but no, we want to be obstinate. It's almost like arguing with a significant other. Ever been in an argument with a significant other before? You're in the middle of it. And then somewhere in the middle of the argument, it hits you like, oh, they're right and I'm wrong. Now you got a choice to make. Do I go, you know what? Based on what you just said right there, that's a great point. You know what? You're right and I'm wrong and here's why. Or which most people do, especially the high D's as you call them, they're like, they got a point there. That makes sense. They're probably right. Screw it. And you dig in your heels and you keep being dumb.
Yeah.
You keep being dumb on purpose now. And then you have to defend it. And that's where cognitive dissonance comes in. If you don't know what that is, guys, I keep using the term, look it up. Cognitive dissonance is basically you're lying to yourself.
Yeah.
You're telling yourself something to be true that you know intellectually isn't, but you lie to yourself so much so you can justify your behavior.
Yep. That's
what you're doing. You're exercising cognitive dissonance all the time. We lie to ourselves. I say this all the time. It's true. No one's lied to me more than me. And no one's lied to you more than you.
And that's where informational bias comes in then.
Yeah.
Because now all of a sudden you knew that this was wrong. But then what happens, what's crazy about that is you get into that pattern loop and you slowly, you start with the voice that says, you're wrong here, change. And you slowly begin to hide that and it becomes calloused. And now you start looking for that informational bias. Well, this article, I purposely typed the right words into Google to get my viewpoint read back to me so I can confirmation bias. So I confirm what it was that I was originally feeling. And now we've allowed that part to callous over so hard. And we've met those people too. And now they've positioned themselves in a spot where it's going to be really, really difficult for them to change because they've allowed that pride to completely overcome them. And underneath all of that is that little person that says, if we change, we can be great. But instead, I am great. Shut up.
No, I want to lie to myself. So therefore, it goes back to the people that we surround ourselves with. I will intentionally seek out people that would affirm my lies to myself.
Right.
Yep.
I will. So that's why you ever been somewhere at work, right? And you see, oh, there goes that little group, the group that's always by the coffee pot, bitch, moaning, and complaining.
Yep.
Right. Or the smoke break people, and they go out there. You know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
I could look out the window and see the little group of three smoking cigarettes, and go, oh, those three people. I know what they're talking about.
Yep.
I would be 90% right. They're over there whining, making excuses, whatever. It's the meeting after the meeting, right? All that horse.
But not the good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this all kind of this does go back to some of the things that Johnny, you've said before too. It's like the bar of soap, right?
Yeah, the harder you
I
squeeze
it, the faster it squirts out of my hand, right?
Yep.
Like so that's what happens with some people, right? They really try to hang on to.
What kind of soap are you using?
Yeah. I don't know.
It's a bar. It's a bar of soap. It's like sliding. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I was acting out. You're sliding.
No, we got it. We're just curious.
But you start to see those people that you were talking about that get hard and callous that aren't there. You start to see people leave them.
Yeah.
Right. And you start to see, and now it's like, well, no,
and that's the person's fault.
It's everybody else's fault, right? They can't ever point the finger back at themselves and go, you know what? I need to make a change here.
Not only that, but you know what's funny? This happens a lot too. A lot of people will justify the I'm right syndrome and then justify those lies to themselves about things they know they need to change based on their W-2. And a lot of people concede to that. Oh, this person has a larger W-2 than me, so therefore they're right.
Right.
Come on, man. This goes back to humility. Are you self-aware or not? Clearly, you have the wrong people in your life. Or if you don't, and you're lucky to have good people in your life, you're completely ignoring them and continuing to do things to lie to yourself. And you will not change. Therefore, the things that happen in your business and your life will not change.
Yeah.
And then you want to like go, oh, well, I'm good. Look at me. I'm great. Okay. You're using that as a reason to justify your crap.
Gary Vee. I just saw Gary Vee say that. He just said this the other day. I was on LinkedIn and saw his thing. And he was talking about work-life balance.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And he was talking about work-life balance. And he goes, it's the biggest bullshit thing anybody's ever said.
It's a lie.
It's a lie. And everybody's like, what do you mean? Like, you find this work-life balance. He goes, no. He goes, are you happy?
That's it right there.
Or not?
Yeah.
He goes, if you're happy, because it goes back to what we talked about earlier today, was if you're happy going 9 to 5 and coming home and cutting your grass, hanging out with your wife and kids, and you just do the 9 to 5 every day, and you're happy doing that, don't change it. Just keep doing that. Like, find where your happy place is. That's work-life balance. He's like, most people wouldn't like my work-life balance, right? Like he works a lot. So, but but that's he's happy. He's happy. He's like, you got to find a happy spot. And if you're happy making $60,000 a year and you're happy living that life, live that life. Stop trying to live somebody else's life.
Yeah, because people socially apply they try to validate, the credibility of your life through others. Like, oh, I can't be happy because the world says I'm supposed to make $100,000 a year.
That's it. It all comes down to what you had said. Be the best you can be.
Yep.
And in order to get there, you have to be self-aware.
Yes.
Are you happy? Are you self-aware? And are you the best that you can be? We can help you at 35.org. Gentlemen, I appreciate you coming in today. It just cracks me up.
Oh, man,
I didn't know how that was going to go. Thank you for coming in today. Jimmy, you have been fantastic.
Not even awesome.
Thank you, Muska, for coming in. We'll talk to all of you next Friday. I think Ron's trying to start a fight with my mom. I think Ron's trying to start a fight with my mom.
Oh, why?
Do you know this song memorized already?
I've already heard it.
I've already heard it, yeah.
Hey, I'm gonna use the bathroom real quick.
All right. Hey, we're live, by the way.
I
What's
know.
the
It's all right.
afterburner?
People go to the
All right, they
bathroom.
know, yeah. They understand. Awesome. I'm gonna mute that. There you go. There it is. New song coming out.
New song dropping soon.
It's already dropped the thing. We got to figure out what we'll even name the. But yeah, it's neat. It's interesting because what Muska was saying was yeah, we're done. This is the afterburner. We're still here. It's just what we do after the show. Your mom wanted to know if we were done. Scott will be back in a second. He's just using the restroom. He'll be back. It is interesting what he said. I didn't get a chance to talk about this either, but one of the things that was mentioned was how fast, and it does seem fast how quickly people are picking up, like the events that we're at. And it just the other day, somebody said it seems like we're everywhere all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And we're not. We really aren't, but we are kind of like we are moving into places. But a lot of that has to do with, and I wish Musk was in here. I'll re-say this to him, but a lot of that has to do with we've been feeding up to this. I mean, like Musk said, think about the amount of emotional currency and friendship currency that he's taken with people throughout the years that have combined themselves to get to the point. And it's all about really creating your tribe of people and people that know you and like you and constantly. In fact, you do something with people that I just really thought was interesting because we're talking about how it feels like. I mean, we're what 3 weeks in now. I made the whole move over, and we really started making a huge push.
Yeah.
But realistically, it's not. It hasn't just been the 3 weeks. There's been a lifetime of building relationships with people, and boom! Now all of a sudden we're being asked to come here and here, and are you available to come to this state this time? And are you do? But that didn't come through 3 weeks ago. We just launched it. It has a really good example of. Listen, and I know that it's weird because we talk to a lot of realtors, but there's a lot of different people on here too. But whatever you do, and I've always believed this, I was taught this at a really young age. If you went on to do make rubber eyelashes, if you created a group of people that knew you, liked you, and trusted you, it doesn't matter what you move on to. You can skyrocket anything. It's about creating the group of people.
Yeah, we didn't start pounding the phones and get all the clients that we have currently going and more coming in because we just picked up the phone and started dialing.
Right.
We leveraged, our relationship currency over time. It's funny. I call it our emotional weight.
Yeah.
Every time anyone in the world, no matter who you are, you have an engagement with a group of people or a solitary individual, what happens is you have a choice to make. I call it, and we all call this leaving people better than you found them.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that's through how they feel or something as simple as an elevator ride. Are you going to be the mopey guy with the crappy physiology in the thing and someone jumps on the elevator? As a person of means inside of a company, you might not even know that person.
Yeah.
And they say good morning to you because we didn't know who you are. And you decide you're in your head because you got stress on your mind, you got to fight with your woman or something like that, and then that person has a strange engagement. They leave the elevator. You could change the trajectory of their day.
Yeah.
So what's happening is a lot of people go through life. You ever go to a marketing event? You go to an event, things happen, and everyone's running around and they got commission breath on them, and they're handing out their business card. Here's what's going on. People make so many surface level decisions and judgments, and therefore ultimately take actions that are so false with people.
Yeah.
What can that person do with me? What can that person do for me? And that's how we decide the importance of how we want to take time to authentically properly engage with people.
Yeah.
That's hosting. That's crap. Treat everybody good.
Yeah.
Have the best interests of others at mind. Don't treat people like you want to be treated. Treat people better than you want to be treated. When you scale that consistently over many, many years, you will have people in your ecosystem that will be more than happy to want to help you win and you help them.
The funny thing is, like you and I have known each other for a long time, but we didn't always work together. You know what I mean? Like, we were at the same company for a while, and then we both left, and then we didn't talk for a while. I mean, it was years probably went by that we didn't talk, and then there's a different stuff brings you back together, right? And it's like, and then we talk, then we didn't talk for a long time, right? And then we talked. So it was kind of like this thing. Now, but it's all in the timing, right? It's not on our time; it's on God's time. But it's all in the timing of things.
Reason
right?
season or lifetime.
That's it. And then you and I, it just worked. We don't.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, well, how long have you guys known each other? I'm like, how long have we been doing the show? Like,
Well, it's really weird though, because I miss. I'm not gonna lie, I miss the honeymoon. I miss when we were looking into each other's eyes and we were like, can you believe it's only been 3 weeks? And now it's been like 4 years, and we're like, yeah, it has. Like nobody's really surprised anymore. I leave my socks on the floor.
Come on, dog.
No, listen, I don't know who does that. But that guys, is that you that's doing that, or is that Don? Who's the door's open, I can hear you. But the fork, just one fork, just wash the fork and set it on the tray in there. Come on.
Yeah, you can't let this.
Don't just. There's a million forks sitting in the bottom of the sink right now. I don't know, but anyway, yeah. So it was interesting how stuff. But it's the other thing that they always say, and I'll tell you one of the things I've learned recently. I could have. You're right, and you were always right. I could have done this so much sooner.
Oh yeah,
and been 100% fine. In fact, I probably could have done this sooner, and it would have been safer. I would have been, but that being said, it wouldn't have been right. You know what I mean? And that's the thing. That's the thing right there. Like it wouldn't have been what it is because one of the things that our unique differentiator is, when we talk about this all the time, all three of us can teach on the exact same topic. I had a buddy. This is a magic thing. I had a buddy of mine, and what we used to do was funny. We used to do.
There's a coin.
Hey, look, it's a picture of me when I was nothing.
I'll have to put my magic video up on the thing. Of me doing magic.
Do you have a video of you doing magic?
Yeah, with my son. Great.
I want to see this. What are you doing? Are you moving your thumb or something?
No, I pulled the quarter out of here.
I want to see. Yes, put that up on the Facebook page. I want to see that. I want to see that.
I want to see that kazoo.
I made a yes. Oh my word! Will you do that? I want to mention it. If you guys want
to, right now?
Oh yes, where's it at? We'll play it right now. This is what Afterburner is all about.
You guys,
if you can send it to me, if you can send it to me, I can show it on the stream right now. These guys that are they're still hanging around have no idea what they're up for right now. This is what the Afterburner is all about.
Horrible.
Oh, it's the best. They're making them do this in school. This almost makes you want to pull your kid out of American school altogether.
Dude, he's paying for this.
I know, but it's still an American school.
Send a kid to private school for 15 grand.
This is what you get. Yeah, wait till you guys see this. In the background, a little snake comes out of a basket. Oh man, well, Jimmy pulls that up. I wanted to go back to the emotional. One of the things that not the emotional, but the. All right, just Don't turn it up that loud. Don't hurt me. Nope, that's this. What are you? You're plugged in?
Yeah, coming to.
Look at your wires. It's like NASA in here, guys. Space Shuttle 2.
This one.
You're plugged right into the board.
Yeah.
Well, but nobody. We haven't switched anything over for the board. So
okay.
I can now though because of the. I can now because the show is over. Hang on, I'm going to switch computer once. You guys can't call in anymore. Sorry.
Afterburner. I can't call in Afterburner.
You can't call into the. Oh, you're right. I guess that's the thing.
That's our rule.
There you are. USB 2 and yep, done. Nope, not done. Yep, done. Let me just turn it down. Now I accidentally cut Muska's mic out.
Yeah, you did.
I'll put you on. I'll put you on 4 here. All right, Jimmy, go ahead.
I'm playing.
Is it?
Oh wait, I know why.
Oh,
There you go.
so what you guys aren't seeing in the video is the children are up on chalkboards right now, and they're just running their hands along the side of it.
Sweet, right here.
No, I got to put you on the here.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
There it was.
Yep, that was.
There it was.
That was it.
Yeah. See, well,
Yeah.
I have things to say. Damn it.
Hang on. There's a lot going on here. 1, 2, 3.
This is why I don't do these things. Because if he's having trouble with it,
Well, he's just trying to count the 4. That's the amazing part.
I don't know. Oh, there we go. I'm
Yeah.
there now. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, like what we saw here and what you heard, y'all, is like that's not like a second grade class.
No, his son is out in Alabama State right now.
We're almost,
And
we're almost in high school.
7th grade.
Seventh grade.
7th
it's all about humbling them.
7th grade. Yeah.
Nothing like making and
Yeah.
it's I did say son
Seventh
too.
grade.
Nothing like making your son play Mary Had a Little Lamb on a flute, sitting on the floor with a bunch of other kids that look depressed. You know,
Hey, listen, iron sharpens iron. It makes it a
Hey,
little tougher.
there was a question.
I don't know, man. I'm not gonna. I'll do that one later.
You were talking about EI questions.
Yeah, emotional
like-
intelligence.
Yeah, I feel like that's where you were going, but I wasn't sure. I wanted to bring it back.
Well,
Flutes are good, but
yeah. What I wanted to say it was just an observation that I made. I had always wondered, like, you were making calls the other day, and you were just sending, and I was just listening to you, and you're like, hey man, did you get that video that I sent you? And it's really funny because these folks that you stay in contact with, some of them you don't contact in a while, and then all of a sudden you think of them, and you like, or you find something, and then you just send it to them. Like you're not doing complicated things to stay in front of people. It's just I found that really interesting.
yeah, when you make relationships with people that actually you want to have in your life, whether it's all the time or sporadic, like kind of like what happened with us, right?
Yeah.
Big gaps. You just randomly reach out to them, just check in. Like I'm that guy. Like if we're people at all, you're gonna get a text from me probably a couple times a year.
Yeah.
I might not have talked to you, but I'm gonna be like, hey man, happy Thanksgiving. I hope you and the family are doing good. I know we haven't talked in a while. Just be good. I'm not looking to talk to you. I don't have a question. I don't want anything. I'm just like checking in on my people, right? And I think everyone should do that because a lot of people, again, I think forget the value of relationship currency.
Well,
Because all we are, I don't care how gifted you are or how smart you think you are or whatever, the people in your life are everything. And your relationship currency is awesome because you can learn something from everyone. And different people are in different places and spaces, so you can garner access to things. It's not all on you to be like this superhuman, like I have access to everything because I'm so amazing. No, your people are your people. So who are your people? Who is your tribe?
Yep.
I mean, that's so critical.
And it's critical, and then the leadership part of that, and the growth of that is where I think the best leaders, what they do is they surround themselves with people that are good at the things they're not good at.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like if I'm not like good at something, I need to find that person that I can like and trust that's good at that thing, and then I want to bring them with me because I'm gonna need them, right? Like I'm gonna need them to do that thing that I'm just not good at. But again, it's being self-aware enough to know that I'm not good at it, right?
Yeah.
Building a website, right? Could I get in there and kick it around and maybe kind of come up with something?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like
the other-
would it look good.
I could YouTube my plumbing.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that.
Right.
I'm going to call out a
Yeah.
professional.
Right.
Now that being said, there's also something that we'll talk about that another time. I'm gonna put the point out there. There's something to be said though, because there's something that happens that's very interesting, and I've noticed this especially when high Ds hire in their assistants or when assistants come in, and that is in your head you have this website that has, imagine what's in my head our website's driving me nuts because it's nowhere near what I'd want it to be, right? I mean, there's not enough fog machines on there. It's crazy. So you guys laugh, but they'll be
in the other room.
I know, but it doesn't shoot straight up, and we still don't have the permission from the fire department yet. We got to get that before we shoot it off. And we finally have a fog machine. This is the show. It's the. What do you mean? Don't throw them off?
I know,
Mister. Let me ask you guys the questions, and then 20 minutes later, I asked a question.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Hey guys, what do you think about blah 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 blah? And then
I have the memory of a goldfish. I really do. It's awesome.
So what was I just saying? Because now I've gone and forgot. You did
that's
the
why I was
thing
trying
you
to
played
keep you
Tim
on.
for. No, you did
That's
it.
why I tried to pivot back. It was too late.
Anyway, the point is we need fog machines on a website. No, I got it. So I have this idea in my head, but I'm not capable of I'm capable of the website. You're not capable of doing it though, but you have this big idea in your head, right?
Yeah.
But then what happens is you hire somebody to do it, and they only do about 80% of what this grand vision was. Well, instead of being thankful that they were able to do the 80% that you would never or couldn't do, people get hung up on the 20% of what they couldn't, of what they really wanted and expected. They get mad at their help, especially, like I said, high Ds that bring their assistants in. They think this is going to be the greatest thing in the world, but they're doing 80% of the stuff that you are incapable of, don't want to, or really bad at doing.
Show them all the stuff.
Yeah,
yeah,
but they don't know how to color code it the way I want to color code my system. You never did it in the first place.
Well, did you tell them that?
Right, and you didn't communicate it,
right?
So they don't know. Right, that's a whole other thing.
At the end of the day, too, is a lot of people don't even know how to leverage the extra time. If I get someone in there that can do it as 80% as well as I can, that's great. But the high D, in many cases, the type of person that can't go, okay, now I have this great asset that can do it 80% as good as I can. I think the customer experience will be pretty good. What do I do with that newfound time? Oh, I don't go do other things that's going to scale my business. What I do is I hover over this person and talk to them about how they're missing that 15% that it's not done the way I would do it.
Yeah.
And then, by the way, secret truth bomb, they might be doing it 80% as good as you can, and that's amazing. But if you forge a relationship and work with them right, they'll get to 85.
Or
they'll get to 90.
Or that
communication, my friends.
That extra 5% might be something different than you ever knew, and it might even be better than what you ever had.
I was going to say, like that other percentage that they're going to bring in, and again, because it goes to looking at the label from the outside in, that's going to get that out.
All right, guys, we got to go test our fog machines. Thank you for hanging out with us on the Afterburner. We'll chat with you next week. Let us know if there's anything that you ever need. Shoot us messages on Facebook. Oh, please do go make sure to like and subscribe too.
Yes,
if you have not to the podcast. I got to, speaking of timing, I got to get in there and actually upload some of those. I saw it on the board.